Well, hey again, everyone. This is Bob with Boss Rocks DIY Solar, and this is part two of my review on this Vevor 6 kW low frequency inverter. um, Now, there's some pros and cons on this thing, and for the most part, they're more disappointing than they are good. So we'll go through those, and I'll go through the worst one first. I've had this thing up and running for nearly about a week, and I really didn't have any problems with it. It seemed to be running pretty good. And then one day I came in here. I wasn't paying attention to how much power it was drawing in, but it was a pretty hot day, and all the air conditioners were running, and probably the freezers and the refrigerator too, all at the same time. But I went to the kitchen sink and turned on some water, and my well pump kicked in, and the whole system shut down. I said, "Oh shit, that sucks." So I didn't have any idea how much power I was using, so I didn't know if I was overloading or not. So what I did today is I actually did a test where I can monitor everything and see what its capacity was as far as surge. So I put a 3,700 watt load on this thing and turned on the water and waited for the well pump to come on. And as soon as it came on, it shut down again. So there you go, you 3,700 watts. And I checked with AI, and AI said a half horsepower 120 volt pump draws about 5 to 6 times the wattage on startup. So it runs at about 1,200 watts when it's running. So multiply that by 5 or 6, and you come up with 7,000 watts it takes to start it up. So I was running about 4,000 watts, and let's say the pump needed 7,000 watts to start up. There's 11,000 watts that was needed to get that pump started up, and that doesn't even come close to the 18,000 watt surge that this thing supposedly has. So it failed in that regard. Oh, by the way, I noticed from my last video that the video was really crappy looking, and I got a cracked lens in my old phone, so I went out and bought a new one. And this one isn't really all that much better, but I just wanted to show you the sine wave on this. It doesn't show it in real good detail, but right at the peaks, there's a lot of slop in the peaks there, so it's got a little bit of a dirty sine wave. Now, something else here, the wiring that you hook up to for your electrical system uses number 8 wire, so that's a good size wire. They size that appropriately for the right kind of wire. And the fans on this thing, they run pretty quiet. They rated in the book at about 38 dB, which is about the same as what I'm talking to you at right now. So maybe even quieter than that. So they're not real loud. So this is something like you could probably put in your RV, and it wouldn't really bother you all that much, except maybe at night when you're trying to sleep and everything's quiet. Maybe the noise fan might bother you a little bit, but for the most part, it's pretty quiet. And the temperature of the air coming out of the fan here was just a little bit hotter than lukewarm. It wasn't bad at all when it was running. So it runs pretty cool. And also the frequency that it runs at was supposed to be 60 hertz. It actually runs at 59.5 hertz. So it's not quite on the button there. So if you have clocks that are running off this inverter here, you're going to find that your clocks are going to either go backwards or forwards because the hertz isn't properly calibrated to 60 hertz. Now, one of the problems that I had when I wanted to put it up here in the wall is that the battery terminals, which are over here, were over there. That's because of the way the case was, the way it was built. So what I had to do is I had to take out the front panel here, the display panel. Fortunately, had some screws on it, and I took it out and I twisted it around and turned it upside down. So the whole unit is upside down except for the panel, but it had a plug in the back of it that was hitting one of the components on the board there, and I couldn't get it to close all the way down. So what I had to do is I had to order a right angle pigtail to hook up to that so I could get this faceplate screwed all the way down, which wasn't really that big a deal. Um, what else we got here to talk about? Oh, it does have a setting for different battery types, and supposedly there's a user definable battery setting on this. Although they don't give you any specific instructions in the book on how to use that. So there is a possibility that you could use this with the new lithium, or not lithium, but sodium ion batteries, which have a much steeper discharge curve. And if you were to use sodium ions on most of the inverters that are made nowadays, like these kind here, it would shut down probably well before the sodium ions were even close to being discharged. From what I hear, by the time you get down to about a 30% left on your sodium ions, that's enough to shut down most inverters. So this may be possible to use with sodium ions, although I couldn't figure out how to set it up to do that. So I'm not really sure on that. Um, Now the voltage on this is pretty good. It's really dependent on what the input voltage is. What I'm running at uh, 27 27 volts approximately, and I'm putting out about 122 volts. And according to the manual, that can vary by 10% depending on what your input voltage is. So you could go down as low as 110. Who knows? But I'll never find that out because I never go that low. And the other thing is when this thing did shut down on me, it automatically restarts. Now, that can be good and that could be bad, because if you have a bunch of air conditioners on and refrigerators and freezers and stuff like that, and you don't have delay timers on it, uh, when this thing goes to start up, you're going to get all those compressors all at once hitting that inverter, and it's just going to shut down again and just keep going on and off and on and off and on and off. But fortunately, I have delay timers on all my compressors, so when it did go off and came back on, it came on and stayed on, because all it had to run basically was the lights and the well pump that was calling for power. So it did that okay. Um, Other than that, I don't think that there's anything else that I can say about this thing right here. It's you get what you pay for. I mean, it's not a real seriously high-end inverter, but it does seem to do the job pretty good. Unlike this inverter over here that I paid $1,500 for, I also did a well pump test on that, and I brought that up to 3,700 watts, and had my well pump turned on, and it actually turned the well pump on. The lights dimmed for about half a second while it was doing that, but it sent power to the pump and started it up. So there's a big difference between what you pay for a good inverter and what you pay for an El Cheapo inverter. And just remember, I got this on sale for, what was it, $353 deliver, I think it was. I mean, it was too incredible to pass up. I mean, even if it is a crappy inverter, it's still decent enough to be worth that much money. So I'd say, if you're not going to stress out your inverter too much, this probably is a good buy for it if you can get it that cheap. I don't know what they're going to be selling them for after the sale ends. My guess is probably they're going to be in the $600-700 range, and even still, for a 6,000 watt low frequency inverter, even though this thing can't put out the surge that it supposedly says it can do, for that much power, $600-700 for an inverter is pretty much a bargain. So I don't know. And now, like I said, the reviews on this inverter are good and some are bad. So apparently they don't have good quality control on these inverters here, and you could get stuck with a crappy inverter. So, and that's just the way it is with Vevor. Everything I bought from Vevor is mostly been mediocre or junk. So you're taking your chances when you buy something from this company. So there you go, guys. Hope that helped you out, and thanks for watching.